Okay, let's start the session. The seventh segregation group is social groups. Write on. See on the screen. Social groups, social category, and statistical aggregate. Social groups, social category, and statistical aggregate. Write down under that. A distinction is also made between social groups, social categories, and statistical aggregate. And social groups are those which are characterized by some established pattern of interaction, which are characterized by some established pattern of interaction. Full stop. A social category. A social category refers to the people who share a common status. A social category refers to the people who share a common status. Then a statistical aggregate. A statistical aggregate includes people who share common interests. Includes people who share common interests. Okay, this is social group, social category, and statistical aggregate. This is one type of segregation in the groups. Okay, here what the social groups, what it tells, it gives about the interaction of the people. It establishes or it gives about the interaction of the people. And coming to the social category, what it says, it shares a common status of the people. It shares a common status. And statistical aggregate means it having the collection of interest or having the common interest that people will be come under into this type of group. Okay, this is the seventh category type of segregation. Now coming to eighth category, that is genetic groups and congregate groups. Genetic groups and congregate groups. Write down under that. It was introduced by F.Q. Giddings. F.Q. Giddings. It was introduced by F.Q. Giddings. What he said, genetic groups are involuntary in nature. Genetic groups are involuntary in nature, and the individuals are born in them. And the individuals are born in them. Okay, genetic groups are involuntary in nature. Okay, they formed automatically. Okay, congregate groups. Congregate groups are voluntary in nature. Congregate groups are voluntary in nature, and individuals are at liberty. Individuals are at liberty to join them or not. To join them or not means in the congregate groups means this is a crowd groups. It will have to join in that type of groups voluntarily. That is on the basis of the wish of the individual. On the basis of the wish, the individuals will going to join in the congregate groups. But so that's why they are called as voluntary groups. And here the genetic groups are involuntary, means it was automatically formed with the nature. Okay. Here this type of segregation was made by F.Q. Giddings. And next segregation, Tony's classification of groups. Tony's classification of groups. Right on under that, a German sociologist, Ferdinand Tönnies has classified communities into Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft. Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft. Check the spelling on the screen, okay? German sociologist Ferdinand Tönnies has classified communities into Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft. These two terms have been translated into
మ్యామ్ మీ వాయిస్ బ్రేక్ అవుతుంది.
See, everyone is getting like that only. అందరికి నా వాయిస్ బ్రేక్ అవుతుందా? Otherwise,
No, ma'am.
No, you are getting.
Yes, ma'am, we are getting.
Okay, check it out. Who told me not getting my voice? Check out your internet connection, please. It's not my problem. Okay, these two terms have been translated into English as community and association respectively. Means Gemeinschaft means community. What do you mean by community? Community means the people living at the same region or the same place having the particular things will come under into the community. Okay, and coming here it will be regarded as the Gesellschaft. Gesellschaft means association. Gesellschaft means association. Okay? Means what? The associations means they are forming a group or they are considering into a group with some purposes. With some purposes. That is association. Okay? Next classification. See, it was given under the names. No need to describing above. Just note it down. The other classifications are organized groups and unorganized groups. Organized and unorganized groups. Congregated and dispersed groups. Congregated and dispersed groups. Here congregated means a lot of crowd. Okay, here dispersed means they were somewhere else. Means the groups will be disputed. Means they were dispersed. Okay. Next, majority and minority groups. Majority and minority groups. Then open and closed groups. Open and closed groups. Independent and dependent groups. Independent and dependent groups. And the last, formal and informal groups. Formal and informal groups. Have you noted? Again, I will tell you organized and unorganized, congregate and dispersed, majority and minority, open and closed, independent and dependent, formal and informal groups. These are the groups which are segregated by different thinkers. Okay? Now keep a heading like that, primary and secondary groups. You have to discuss and you have to describe this mainly, the primary and secondary groups. It was important. Sometimes the question is giving in the examination. Okay? So let's see in detail the primary and secondary groups. Keep a heading, primary and secondary groups. Keep a side heading, first primary groups. What do you mean by primary? What do you mean by secondary? Let's discuss in detail. Write down under the primary groups. I told you before that C.H. Cole used to describe these two terms of primary and secondary groups. Okay? Write down that only. C.H. Cole has used the primary group. C.H. Cole has used the primary group. It is a small group. It is a small group in which a few persons come into direct contact with one another. And these persons meet face to face, and these persons meet face to face for mutual questions and discussion of common questions. Okay. C.H. Kohler has used the primary group. It is a small group in which a few persons come into direct contact with one another. These persons meet face to face for mutual help, companionship, and discussion to common questions. I will give you simply the primary group. Under the primary group, what comes? Our family will come the primary group. And if you take in the society, for example, take the rural society and urban society. Okay, ours is a in city. If the city life will be come into the urban society, the village life will come under into the rural society. So the rural society will come under into the primary group because they are having the face-to-face relationships. Here we don't know exactly. In some families, they don't know what is happening in their family. నిజం చెప్పాలంటే ఇప్పుడు ఈ రోజుల్లో డ్యూ టు డే షెడ్యూల్స్ డ్యూ టు వాట్ ఎవర్ ఇట్ మే బి they are unable to spend with their family members. Have you seen that? I seen in television some days back that a brand Babu edo something movie that was in Telugu. If you are all people belongs to the same region means you will let you know. That means they used to see వాళ్ళు ఎలా అంటే వాళ్ళ రిలేషన్స్ ఎవ్రీ వీక్ ఎవ్రీ మంత్ ఒకే ఇంట్లో ఉన్న వాళ్ళందరూ కలుస్తారట. See, that's ridiculous. అలాంటి టైప్ ఆఫ్ రిలేషన్షిప్ ఎందులోకి వెళ్తుంది? సెకండరీ గ్రూప్ లోకి వెళ్తారు. కానీ యాక్చువల్లీ ద ఫ్యామిలీ విల్ కమ్స్ ఇన్ టు ద ప్రైమరీ గ్రూప్ బికాస్ ఎవ్రీ డే వి యూస్ టు మీట్, వి యూస్ టు టాక్, వి యూస్ టు స్పెండ్ అవర్ టైమ్స్ విత్ అవర్ ఫ్యామిలీ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్ రాదర్ దాన్ ద అదర్ పీపుల్. పోనీ మనం మార్నింగ్ నుంచి ఇప్పుడు మన కాలేజెస్, స్కూల్స్, గోయింగ్ జాబ్స్, వాట్ ఎవర్ ఇట్ మే బి విత్ దట్ బిజీ షెడ్యూల్, అట్లీస్ట్ in the night we will going to get together at one place, okay, at least for dinner కైనా. కానీ ఇప్పుడు చాలా మంది ఇళ్ళలో అది కూడా కొంతమంది ఇళ్ళలోని జరగట్లేదు. డోంట్ ఫీల్. చాలా మంది ఏమనుకుంటారు అంటే బాగా రిచ్ పీపుల్ దే విల్ ఎంజాయ్ దేర్ లైఫ్, but they are having too much problems rather than the people who are not having the money. It's a true. బాగా డబ్బున్న వాళ్ళకి ఏం చేయాలో తెలియదు. ఈడొక్కారు, ఆడొక్కారు, ఆడ బిల్డింగ్, ఈడ రూము, ఆడ రూము, ఎక్కడ విడివిడిగా ఉంటారు. నాకు చెప్పాలి అంటే ద మిడిల్ క్లాస్ ఫ్యామిలీ ఈస్ అ వెరీ బెస్ట్ ఫ్యామిలీ ఇన్ ద సొసైటీ బికాస్ దే యూస్ టు షేర్ ఈచ్ అండ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్. దే డోంట్ వాంట్ ద సెపరేట్ రూమ్, they don't want the separate bed, they don't want the separate time to take the lunch, dinner and whatever it may be because they used to. ఎందుకంటే చిన్నది అయ్యే కొద్ది బంధాలు దగ్గరగా ఉంటాయి. రిమెంబర్ దట్ థింగ్. మనం ఎక్కువ సంపాదించేసుకుంటే ఎంత బాగుంటామని ఎప్పుడు జీవితంలో ఆలోచించుకోండి. ఇట్స్ మై పర్సనల్ ఒపీనియన్. వాట్ మీన్స్ మనం తినడానికి, బతకడానికి, ఉండడానికి అండ్ ఏదైనా అవసరం వస్తే ఆ మినిమం ఎక్స్పెన్సెస్ చేయడానికి మన దగ్గర డబ్బులు ఉంటే చాలు. అంత మించి ఎక్కువ ఉన్నా ఏం చేసుకోవాలో తెలియదు. వాళ్ళు కోట్లు ఉన్న వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారో నాకు తెలియదు. ఇదిగో మొన్న కోవిడ్ వచ్చింది, ఏం చేశారో డబ్బులు లేదా ఇంతకు ముందు మనకి ఏది డిమానిటైజేషన్ వచ్చింది, ఏం చేశారు? అది మార్చలేక చాలా మంది డబ్బులు. హ్యావ్ యూ సీన్ సో మెనీ కేసెస్? సో అలాంటి టైంలోని వన్ ఆఫ్ ద కేస్ ఐ హావ్ సీన్. ఏంటి అంటే నా కేసు వారి దగ్గర ఎక్కువ డబ్బులు ఉన్నాయి. ఆ డబ్బులు తీసుకొచ్చి వాడికి ఎలా చేంజ్ చేయాలో తెలియక ఒక డిఫరెంట్ అకౌంట్స్ లో వేసేసాడు. వేసేసి వాళ్ళ దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళి వాళ్ళని బెదిరించి నువ్వు డబ్బులు ఇస్తావా చేస్తావా అనుకుంటున్నాడు. మరి వీడికి అకౌంట్ లో డబ్బులు పడితే వాడు గవర్నమెంట్ కి ఆన్సర్ చేయాలా? సో దిస్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ థింగ్స్ విల్ బి హ్యాపెండ్ ఎట్ ద టైమ్. సో మనకి ఎక్కువ ఉన్నా ఇది ఏమి ఉండదు. సో కమింగ్ టు హియర్ ద పాయింట్ ఈస్ దట్ ఇన్ ద రూరల్ ఏరియాస్ అంటే విలేజెస్ లోని ఊరు చిన్నది కదా, అందరూ దగ్గరగా ఉంటారు. విలేజెస్ లో ఎలా ఉంటది అంటే రూరల్ ఏరియాస్ లోని ఏది జరిగినా ఎయిదర్ ద పాజిటివ్ థింగ్ ఆర్ నెగిటివ్ థింగ్ ఇట్ విల్ గోయింగ్ టు స్ప్రెడ్ వెరీ ఫాస్ట్లీ దాన్ ద కమ్యూనికేషన్. వాట్ ఎవర్ యూ ఆర్ హ్యావింగ్. ఇప్పుడు ఇంట్లో ఏదైనా జరిగింది అనుకోండి, అది మనకంటే ముందు పక్కింట్లో తెలుస్తుంది, ఇది మొత్తం మా ఊర్లో తెలిసిపోతుంది. దట్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ అండ్ మోర్ ఓవర్ వాట్ దే ఆర్ హ్యావింగ్ ఫేస్ టు ఫేస్ రిలేషన్. దే డోంట్ వాంట్ టు ఏంటి బాదర్ అబౌట్ ద అదర్ కమ్యూనికేషన్స్. బట్ కమింగ్ టు ద సెకండరీ గ్రూప్స్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ఇట్ మే బి ద అర్బన్ ఏరియాస్. అర్బన్ మన సిటీ లైఫ్ లోని మన ఇంట్లోనే ఏం జరుగుతుందో తెలియదు. ఒకవేళ మన ఇంట్లో ఏం జరిగినా పక్కింట్లో తలుపుకొని తీసి తొంగి కూడా చూద్దాం. దట్ ఈస్ ద సిచ్యువేషన్. ఇక్కడ ఇల్లులు చాలా దగ్గర కానీ బంధాలు మాత్రం చాలా దూరం. అక్కడ ఇల్లులు చాలా దూరం కానీ బంధాలు చాలా దగ్గర. దట్ ఈస్ ద బెస్ట్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఫర్ ద ప్రైమరీ అండ్ సెకండరీ గ్రూప్స్. ఓకే, నౌ రైట్ డౌన్ అబౌట్ ద సెకండరీ గ్రూప్స్. Note it down, the secondary groups. Component think of, say that the say that the groups which provide experience lacking in intimacy can be called secondary groups. Okay, urban think of, say that the groups which provide experience lacking in intimacy can be called secondary groups. Okay, see this secondary group was described by Open and Imhoff. Both they said that the secondary groups will be formed by lacking of togetherness or the closeness. అంటే ఒకరితో ఒకరు దగ్గరగా సంబంధాలు లేనివి సెకండరీ గ్రూప్ అనేసి, అదే ఐ సైడ్ అబౌట్ అర్బన్ ఏరియాస్ లో ఇట్ విల్ కమ్. ఇట్ ఈస్ ద బెస్ట్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఫర్ సెకండరీ గ్రూప్స్. దెన్ రైట్ డౌన్ Frank D. Watson writes the secondary group is larger and more formal is specialized and direct in its contacts and relies more for unity and continuity upon the stability of its social organization then does the primary group. What Frank said that the secondary group will be a formal. Okay, the primary group will come under into the informal. Okay, and it's having the more contacts means more specializations. So see for in villages, see whatever's happened in villages. For example, take a construction of a building. If you take the construction of building, what was happening అక్కడ ఒక బిల్డింగ్ కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేయాలంటే ఒక హౌస్ కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేయాలంటే మ్యాన్షన్ ఒకటే, ఎలివేషన్ ఒకటే, ప్లంబర్ ఒకటే, అన్ని ఒకటే. బట్ కమింగ్ టు ద అర్బన్ ఏరియాస్, వాట్ వాస్ హ్యాపెన్, ఇట్ వాస్ స్పెషలైజ్డ్ ఇన్ దర్ ఆస్పెక్ట్స్. ఓకే, ద మ్యాన్షన్ is different, the plumber is different, the electrician is different. In each and every aspect the person will be different. And here what happens means the control will be also in the urban areas will be have a formal control, but in villages it still there are existed informal controls. The formal controls were under the law and police. The informal controls was under the panchayats. Okay, This is about the introduction of primary and secondary groups. Now, please divide the page into two parts. One part is like a primary group and another part is secondary group. See on the screen, you will know how to make the part. Check it out. Like this, you have to divide the page. Then you write on one side about the primary and other side about the secondary. Write down under the primary, first of all, meaning. What do you mean by primary and what do you mean by secondary? Under the primary, you have to write down first. Groups which are characterized by face-to-face relations, mutual aid and companionship, or primary groups. Example, family, neighborhood, community, children play group, and local brotherhood. Groups which are characterized by face-to-face relations, mutual aid and companionship, or primary groups. Example, family, neighborhood, community, children play group, and local brotherhood. Okay? Coming to your secondary groups, write down the meaning of secondary groups. When the question was raised, what do you mean by social group and explain the primary and secondary groups means you have to write all these aspects regarding the primary and secondary group. Okay. Sometimes it was given that differentiate between primary and secondary means you have to write all these things out. Write down under the secondary group, groups which provide experience lacking in intimacy, or secondary groups. Example, political groups, trade unions, religious associations, the state, city, corporation, factory, etc. Okay, all these will come under into the secondary group. Write down one more point, then we'll stop. Okay. Nature of social relations. The second point is nature of social relations. Write down under the primary groups.
Ma'am, ఒకసారి కిందకి స్క్రోల్ చేయండి.
Social Okay, that is the nature of primary group. Now coming to the nature of secondary group, how the social relations will be. You see, in the secondary group, the relations are indirect. Here in the primary group, the relations are direct, but in the secondary group, the relations are indirect, impersonal, contractual, specialized. See the difference here. In the primary there will be non-specialized groups. Okay, but here coming to secondary, this will be a specialized, partisan, and more economic in nature. Okay, the remaining part we'll discuss tomorrow. And one more thing, don't think that I'm not taking the attendance. I'm seeing that how many people are attending. I'm noting all our names regarding coming in the you're getting that with your names in the side. No, with the names I'm noting. Later I will call the names and you have to answer me. Okay. I will take the attendance maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow. I will note it in the what progress sheets. Before that, I am taking the screenshots who are attending and who are leaving in the middle. I am noting all those things. Don't think that madam is not noting. Don't think like that. I am taking your attendance as the names which were what given in the screens. Okay. Later on, I will take along with your numbers. Okay.